I used to think love meant giving without keeping score. So when my wife asked if her family could stay just for a while, I didn't ask questions. I moved my tools out of the guest room, cooked extra, paid for the upgrades her dad said were good for resale value. I let her brother borrow my car. He never filled the tank. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into whispers behind my back. I wasn't driven like her brother. Wasn't successful like her dad. Wasn't man enough, they said. When I came home exhausted from double shifts and still made dinner. Then one night, after I spent 5 hours fixing a leaking pipe in the freezing crawlspace, her brother tossed a beer at me and laughed. "You're basically just a wallet with arms, aren't you?" he smirked. I didn't say a word. I stood up, wiped my hands, and walked into the garage. They didn't know I built a safe into the wall when I renovated. They didn't know the house deed was in my name alone. That the car her brother drove was bought with my inheritance. That the renovations were paid from my separate account. They didn't know I had printed bank statements, signed loan documents, the prenup, all locked away. I took them. I walked upstairs, grabbed my bag from the closet, and walked right past the kitchen where they sat laughing. "Where you going?" my wife asked without looking up. "Somewhere I'm not invisible," I said calmly. And I left. No screaming, no arguing, just the weight of their ignorance echoing behind me. 3 days later, the locks were changed. The car was gone. The electricity shut off. And the bank froze the card her dad had borrowed. Because useless doesn't build empires. And quiet doesn't mean weak. It just means I was listening while I planned everything. I didn't stay in a hotel. I stayed at a friend's place, someone who actually noticed when I walked into a room. He offered me a beer and said, "You look like a man who just let the weight fall off his back." That night, I slept better than I had in months. No stomping above me. No passive-aggressive sighs. Just silence, clean, calm. By morning, my phone had 23 missed calls from her. From her dad, even her brother. I didn't answer. Instead, I emailed my lawyer. The house was mine. I had proof. Every document signed, every wire traceable. They thought because I didn't boast, I didn't tone. They forgot quiet men still hold power, real power. 2 days later, they got the letter. Not from me, from my lawyer. A formal notice of removal. Her parents had no legal right to stay. Her brother, an unauthorized occupant. She? Welcome to stay if she agreed to my terms. She didn't reply. Instead, her brother called me screaming, saying I was ruining their lives. I let him scream. Then I sent the final mail. A scanned copy of the contract her father signed when he borrowed money from me for medical emergencies, which he used for a new truck. It included one small detail: if repayment wasn't made by April, the property deed would not just remain in my name, might also claim full ownership of the adjacent land he'd staked his retirement plans on. They didn't go quiet. People like that never do. They turned everything around suddenly. I was the cold husband, the one who abandoned his wife and her family. They filed a motion to contest the deed, claimed I manipulated documents, said I forced her dad to sign under emotional stress. They even forged emails between me and her brother to make it look like I was giving him the car as a gift. I almost laughed when I saw it. They thought I came unarmed, but I had receipts, literal ones. Still, what I didn't expect was her cousin, Maya. She always kept her distance from the chaos. I barely remembered her quiet girl with kind eyes, usually stuck at the edge of family dinners while everyone else talked over her. She called me. At first, I thought it was a trick. But she said softly, "I know everything. I saw what they did to you." She had screenshots, voicemails, even group chat messages were her ad. Her uncle and her brother bragged about milking the dumb husband before the renovations were finished. One text chilled me. Once he's broke or gone, we take over. Just keep playing nice. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. The tone of the courtroom changed immediately. The judge asked them one question after reviewing the files. Did you really think digital evidence disappears just because you delete it? Their lawyer whispered something and left halfway through the hearing. My wife, she sat frozen, not a word. She finally realized she hadn't just lost the house. She lost the only person who ever wanted to build a home with her. 3 weeks passed. The case was closed. I kept the house, the land, the car, everything I built. They left the property in silence, no calls, no apologies. Just boxes dragged out under the glare of the neighborhood they once paraded through. Then one evening, I got a message. From her. Can we talk? My first instinct was to delete it, but something in me said go. Not for her. For closure. We met at a park bench just a few blocks from where we used to walk together before things got heavy, before her father moved in, before her brother started calling me names behind my back, before us became them and me. She looked older, not in age, just in weight. Like the lies had started to press down on her too. I didn't know everything, she said. You knew enough, I replied. She nodded, tears in her eyes. I was scared. I thought if I pushed back, they'd cut me off. They always controlled everything growing up. Even now, I never thought you'd actually leave. That was your mistake, I said quietly. You thought I was just staying because I was weak. I stayed because I believed in you. She looked up sharply. Do you still? I didn't answer, because at that moment my phone buzzed. It was Maya. I know this is strange, but would you like to grab a coffee sometime? You deserve to be around someone who sees you, not what they can take from you. And suddenly, the woman in front of me, the one who lets silence become betrayal, felt like the past. And Maya? She felt like a beginning I hadn't known I needed. We met at a quiet cafe on the edge of town. It was the kind of place where the chairs creaked and the tea came in mismatched mugs, but something about it felt safe. Maybe because Maya looked at me like I was human, not like I was weak, or rich, or something to be managed. She smiled when I walked in. You came, she said. I didn't think I would, I replied honestly. She didn't take offense, just nodded like she understood. We talked for over an hour, about the court case, about her childhood, how her father and uncles always controlled everything, how they even used her to deliver messages sometimes, how she'd stay quiet at dinner because the moment she spoke, they'd correct her. I saw what they were doing to you, she said softly, stirring her coffee, and I couldn't unsee it. Then her eyes dropped. But there's something I didn't tell you. Something I've been carrying. I leaned forward. What is it? She reached into her bag and pulled out a small notebook. Worn, pages bent, familiar. I found this, she said, sliding it toward me. It was in a drawer at my aunt's house. I think you should read it. I opened it. It was my journal, the one I'd kept when I was building the house, the one I lost when her family moved in. And page after page was filled with my dreams, my plans, notes to myself about building a life, building a home. And then a scratched words, angry ink, frustration. Then I found a torn page, taped back in. A message written in a different handwriting. I'm sorry I let them change me. I didn't protect you, but I'm still watching. I still believe you're more than what they saw. And I looked up. Maya swallowed. That wasn't meant for me to find. But when I did, I knew I had to tell you. Silence hung between us like a held breath. You kept it all this time? I asked. She nodded, because I knew one day you'd need to be reminded you weren't crazy. You were kind. You were real. And just like that, something inside me cracked. Not in pain. In relief. For the first time in months I felt seen. not as a man who lost everything, but as a man who survived everything. It would have been easy to fall into something with Maya. She was kind, thoughtful, real. But we both knew healing wasn't about rushing into someone new, it was about standing still. Finally, without someone knocking you down. We kept meeting, quiet places, honest conversations, no pretending. She saw me, and I saw her not as the girl in the background, but as the one who stepped forward when no one else did. One afternoon, she called and said, "There's something I need to tell you. It's about your wife, about why they wanted you out so badly." My chest tightened. "Go on." She met me with a folder. Inside were bank statements, property documents, emails between her father and mine-in-law. Apparently, months before they started pushing me out, they tried to take a loan using my property as collateral without telling me. Her father had submitted falsified papers. Her brother signed, pretending to be me. And my wife, she knew. She tried to stop it, Maya said. But not enough, not loudly. And when it all started unraveling, they pushed for one thing: get you out of the house. Fast, before you noticed what was missing. My stomach turned. I wasn't just inconvenient. I was a threat. Because I built something they could never own, and they hated me for it. I took the documents to my lawyer, quietly, without drama. We pressed charges. 2 arrests followed. Her father fled the city. My wife sent one last message. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I just didn't know how to stop them. I didn't reply. Because love that only shows up when you're gone isn't love at all. 6 months later, the house is quiet, warm, whole. I kept one photo on the wall, me, before the chaos, smiling, covered in sawdust, proud. Maya visits sometimes, brings coffee, leaves notes. Not promises, just peace. And in the quiet of that home they tried to take from me, I finally understood. They never broke me. They only revealed who I was when no one was left to lean on. And I liked that man better than the one who stayed silent.